All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. This article is from the epochtimes.com. The headline reads, it says, FBI thwarts ISIS-inspired New Year's Eve tea plot in North Carolina. Okay? The spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah has been real heavy down here in Charlotte, North Carolina as of lately. All right? So understanding the time that we in, we're going to keep our eyes open and head on the swivel. All right? Ephesians 5:15. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. All right? Understand, we're still in the midst of Jacob's trouble. All right? We told you that Jake was going to be the face of domestic tea. All right? So understanding the time that the days are evil. All right? They're getting ready to link us up with all these different psyops and tea groups, This is that time of persecution, Jacob's trouble. So let's get into that. This is down here in Charlotte, North Carolina again.
So right off the top, let's start with that breaking news out of North Carolina. A terror plot planned for New Year's Eve directly inspired to act by terror group ISIS. That plan thwarted by the men and women of the FBI. FBI Charlotte on X confirming this. They say law enforcement partners thwarted a potential terror attack on New Year's Eve in North Carolina. The subject was directly inspired to act by ISIS. Now, let's look at the suspect. According to the FBI, this is him, 18-year-old Christian Sturtevant. Authorities say he planned to attack people at a North Carolina fast food restaurant and then at a grocery store just outside of Charlotte. They say that he planned to use knives and hammers. Officers searched his home. They found details in a handwritten document titled New Year's Eve Attack.
Yeah, they always find a manifesto, some type of document, some letter. So again, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, right? 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, right? This is another, scheme to trap Jake up. Okay? Check this out. We'll play this next, too. This one right here says, FBI NC terror suspect was targeting Jays, Christians, and probably Muslims. You see what I'm saying?
Charlotte. They say that he planned to use knives and hammers. Officers searched his home. They found details in a handwritten document titled New Year's Eve Attack. Authorities arrested Sturtevant on that night, New Year's Eve. Here's more.
So Mr. Sturtevant started on the internet. He started reading ISIS material, started going to ISIS websites, making TikTok videos, and eventually reached out to what he thought was a member of ISIS. In reality, was an undercover agent with NYPD in New York.
There you go, man. 2026, the year of apostasy, sellouts, agents, spies, A lot of shit going on, man. Okay, and I talked about this before as far as, the feds being concerned about people being radicalized on the internet. All right? So this is all for a bigger purpose, as I say. All right, again, these are those plots and schemes. All right? This is Psalm 37 and 12. It says, the wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. That's his power, man. The wicked plotteth against the just, and this is what's going on. Okay? These plans are set in motion. All right? They're going to have more false flags, psyops, things happening. You're going to have sellouts that's going to be used to fulfill the agenda of Esau, man. There's a lot of shit that's going to happen this year, man. Okay? But again, these are the plots and schemes. Verse 13, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming, right? Because, Esau's out of there, man. They don't have a lot of time left, as we brought out last night. Okay? The Elon Musk is going to be aggressively, moving forward to bringing forth the MOTB. All right? It says, and we're at the door of nuclear war as well. Verse 14, the wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy, which is you Israelites. right? The poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation, right? So as we understand, a lot of this stuff that's happening is going to be circled back, all right, to the prophets, man. All right, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We understand that the days are evil. All right, a lot of weird shit has been going on, man. You know, let's finish it out.
He pledged his allegiance to ISIS with that undercover agent, and he disclosed his plans to, quote, do jihad soon. He then met a second undercover with the FBI, who he also thought was an ISIS participant, and he started to be very specific with his plans. He talked with that undercover agent, again, who he thought was ISIS. He talked about where he was planning to do this attack.
And you know, another thing I'm thinking about too, right? ISIS, right? Israel, ISIS, you know what I'm saying? So it's play on words, you know. Just thinking about that too. Hey, you got to be circumspect, all right?
Which was at a grocery store and a fast food restaurant in Mint Hill, places that we go every day and don't think that we may be harmed. He talked about what means he would use to kill innocent people. He said he was going to wear a Kevlar vest and attack people with knives and hammers. And of course, he talked about when he was going to carry out this attack, which was New Year's Eve.
So team coverage with CBS News Justice correspondent Scott McFarland and CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. So let's begin with Scott. Scott, you're looking through these charging documents. What do they reveal?
A few things jump out at me in particular. First of all, let's just start with the age of this defendant. He just turned 18 a few weeks ago, and he first got on the radar of federal authorities when he was a 14-year-old based on some of his social media posts. He went quiet from social media after he was not charged as a 14-year-old. Then at some point in early December, a federal investigator or a local police investigator in New York spotted some TikTok messages attributed to Sturdivant, which caused alarm and seemed to declare some obedience to or loyalty to ISIS. What the feds are alleging here is that he was doing this in martyrdom for ISIS, making this a terrorism case or a material support of terrorism case in the U.S. District Court. Some of the allegations here are uniquely chilling. They just have a different way about them. They're alleging he was looking for a soft target. Grocery store, fast food place would be a uniquely soft target on New Year's Eve, when a grocery store or fast food place would be particularly full. That he was seeking to use the types of weapons you don't need a background check for, but that can be deadly. Knives and hammers. This is just a page out of the ISIS playbook, the feds say. This is the directive they're trying to give to would-be supporters in the West.
Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of suspect shit going on. Remember, about a month or two ago, however long it was, right? You had the Charlotte stabbing, the psyop with the Ukrainian woman that got exposed, right? This madness right here, right? And then you had another recent stabbing like 3 weeks ago from an illegal migrant. You know, another stabbing on the train, right? So it's a lot of shit going on down here, man. Right? Let's finish this out.
And active online at that. Scott McFarland, thank you so much. Okay, so let's go live now to CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, authorities have been saying they've been tracking this suspect since 2022, saying that he was in contact with an ISIS member on social media, as Scott just mentioned. So at what point can somebody's social media be used against them and then impact the legal outcome?
So generally speaking, social media will help to initiate an investigation, but it alone will not be enough. And you'll see exactly what we see here, meaning not enough for an arrest. You'll see, as Scott reported, as you've been reporting, that there was more. You have the suspect talking to undercover agents. You have the suspect being very specific about, these are the weapons that I want to use, this is where I want to use them, and this is the time I want to use them. Generally speaking, we want to be...
That's what I said, you know, they're watching everything on social media. All right? They're ready to you know, shut it down. All right, the things that we talked about. All right, so there's not a lot of time left, as I keep repeating, man. All right, they're gonna come after social media. They're looking at anybody that they deem is domestic teas that have been radicalized over online content. All right, listen to what they're saying.
Protective of online speech, even when we hate that speech. You have to have specifically something more where you feel like you're crossing the line from advocacy to a true threat. And generally, that something more happens off of social media. Just read, as we saw in this case.
Right, and it's fascinating to me, Jessica. They've been tracking this kid really, since he was 14 years old. Authorities mentioned it's easier to bring charges now that he's 18. Explain that to our viewers.
So in part because the juvenile system is more geared towards rehabilitation than punishment. I know it seems strange, like we always have to draw lines. If you're 17 and a half, is it that much different than 18 in a day? And the answer is we have to draw the line somewhere. So what's different? You're in an adult court. There are federal charges that are available that generally we don't think are available to juveniles. There are terrorism charges that are available that we generally do not see apply to juveniles. So there are a lot more charges that are available, and you don't have the same concerns about a long pretrial detention. You don't have the same concerns about, frankly, a longer sentencing. It's easier for prosecutors to put somebody in the adult system. There are just so many tools that are options for them in this case.
Young mind influenced and still out there somewhere in the world, these ISIS operatives who got in this kid's head. Jessica Levinson, thank you.
You see what I'm saying? These operatives that got in his head, he was influenced on social media, on the internet. You see, understand what's about to happen. All right. Again, the persecution is upon us. 1 Peter 4:1. For as much then as Yahweh Shah have suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. All right. We got to understand what comes with the territory, man. Understand what this devil is trying to do. For he that suffered in the flesh have ceased from sin, right? John 15:20. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. See that? So again, as our Lord and Savior was persecuted, man. All right, this is part of the walk. All right. They're about to smear Jake on a whole nother level in this time, man. As we ended, 2025 into 2026, man. All right, Jake is the face of all the problems that's going on. All right? So this devil's getting ready to make a move. You see? Let's play some more. Right? I saw this one first. Let me play this one before I play the one about the targeting the Jays and all that.
This is the quickest way to go from AI beginner.
Let's just see. They always got a story, a document, recording,
Carolina have now announced charges against an 18-year-old that they say was planning to carry out a New Year's Eve terror attack in Charlotte. For more on this, I want to bring in CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga. Nicole, so much information coming from that press conference earlier today. So tell us more about this suspect and what authorities believe that he'd planned.
Yeah, Chanel, officials pointed to just how serious and how long-term the alleged planning had been. We heard directly from U.S. Attorney Russ Ferguson. Take a listen.
The defendant here is an 18-year-old named Christian Sturdivant. He has been planning this attack for about a year, but he's been planning an attack for far longer than that. He was planning this attack in support of ISIS, and we have charged him with attempting to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization, that organization being, of course, ISIS.
Investigators noted that no specific target has been publicly identified yet, but they said that the intent and the preparation here were enough to charge the defendant, with officials crediting tips and some proactive monitoring for unearthing this alleged plot before anyone was hurt.
And Nicole, also want to ask you about the Republican-controlled House Judiciary Committee, because they've now released that transcript from former special counsel Jack Smith.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. They just had some whack-ass footage. All right. Let me see. Let me go back.
So right up the top.
There's another one I saw. Yeah. I guess they switched it up. There we go.
I could tell you from his notes, he was targeting Jews, Christians, and LGBTQ individuals, and so you can infer from that that his family was in harm's way. I think that's a safe assumption.
There you go. So that's what I wanted to hear. Jake is the face of terror and hate and all of that, man. So see what's going on. We're not going to watch this whole clip, but that's the point. All right? We're not ignorant of what's going on. So head on the swivel. All right? Like I said, the spirit has been heavy down here in Charlotte, and we just got our eyes. We watching everything, man. Shalom.